Okay. We're coming up. I guess. Maybe we're live. Maybe not. I don't know. Kind of looks like we're up and running. Or at least trying to. I see no one. Yep, I see a couple of people in the gallery there. Good morning. Welcome to the Southern Idaho Command. I'm Bob K6UDA. This isn't going to be a live stream. Excuse me. What this is a radio net. If you have never been part of a net before, this is a back and forth. This is not a one-way conversation. I'm not making a video. Mike, how you doing? Like I said, not a one-way conversation. This is a two-way conversation. We're all here trying to get information for each other, to help each other, trying to build a community.
N7GRS.
Look at that. We got people checking in here already. I guess I should get my my spreadsheet up here. So, with that, guys, I'm going to start finish getting myself ready, and hopefully, my friends, this will be an interesting net. I know Mike, K7CAN, one of my buddies from up here, one of my ham radio buddies from up here. He's a lifer. He's an Idaho farm boy, so he might have some information that I don't have on this subject. Today, we are talking about surviving the harsh winters of Idaho and the rest of the North, and I guess the East. I'll be talking to you guys in just a few minutes. Okay, I am going to bring that in. Okay, I guess. You know what?
N7GRS.
Good morning, Garrett. K6UDA. We're going to start here in about 4 minutes.
No worries. I thought I'd just early check in. Okay.
I'm going to run it here. Hide my interview panel. Sound effects don't need to be here. Nope, that one will stay. Overlays and scenes. Yep, nope. Camera switcher. All right. Wow. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. I am just about ready to go. Grab my mic. Remember, for you guys, and I got to start now. For you guys, if there's any subject you want me to cover on a future net, put it in the comments. I'm looking at those, and I'm looking at them after the net when I can really go through them, and I'm kind of seeing what we can cover. Good morning from the Southern Idaho Command, and welcome to the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. This net meets every Saturday morning at 0900 hours Mountain Time on the K6 UDA repeater located here in Twin Falls, Idaho. This is a digital-only net accessible via WiresX room 40448, the Idaho Command, YSF reflector 56026, the YouTuber's reflector. Also, locally here on the Hanson Butte 2-meter fusion repeater on 145.170. Local hams without a digital radio can also monitor on 44200 in analog mode and participate. Excuse me. I got something in my throat here. The purpose of this net is the free exchange of information related to emergency preparedness, commonly known as prepping. I'm going to let it drop for a second. We encourage deep dives into subjects related to food, water, shelter, personal protection, weapons, survival tactics, medical issues, communication gear, and techniques. I'm looking for subject matter experts to lead discussions on all these various subjects. If you have material that you'd like to present or discuss, when you check in, please indicate that you have a subject, i.e. K6 UDA with a subject. Although not primarily political, discussion of relative political, cultural, or religious events are welcome in the context of situational awareness and survival. All right, to explain the check-in procedure, in order to give everyone an opportunity to be heard, I'm going to do check-ins and comments in the following order. I will call for local repeater check-ins. So if you're coming in over the K6UDA repeater, the KB7SQS, or the KB7DFP repeaters, locally over the air, I'll ask you to check in. Then we'll do Wires X check-ins. If you're on a Wires X node, either here locally, or if you're somewhere in another part of Idaho or another part of the world, I will ask you for check-ins, and the same with YSF when I ask for YSF check-ins. And then there's always room, if you're watching this on the live stream, you can leave a comment, and I will try to get to those comments and read some of them. So I ask that you check in with your first name, your call sign, your location, and how you're getting into the net, whether you're on local repeater, Wires X, or YSF. That being said, do we have any local repeater check-ins? All right, we have K7CAN as a local check-in. Any other local check-ins?
Kilo Bravo 7, Sierra Quebec, Sierra Lance, Twin Falls Mobile, in and out.
All right, KB7SQS, we've got you in there, mobile in and out. Any other local repeater check-ins? Okay, and guys, let me just remind you, space out your calls. A lot of these things are going through the internet, and so there's hang-ups on the internet side. So space your calls out so we don't double. Wires X check-ins. If you're on anybody's Wires X node, whether you're on your own or you're coming in through somebody else's repeater somewhere else other than the Magic Valley, check-ins now.
This is Doug, W6DUG, Central California. I'm coming in on a PDM, personal P.
All right, Doug, we got you in there all the way from Northern California. Checking in, Wires X check-ins.
This is Tim, 2 Echo 0, India Echo Hotel, calling in from central UK via my PC using Wires X, and interested to take part in this weekend's net back here.
All right, 2E0 IEH, good to have you in there all the way from the UK. Our resident DX station. Wires X check-ins. All right, N7 RBP. We got you in there.
KD8IOK, Yuma, Arizona. Jeff.
All right, KD8IOK in Yuma. Good to have you in there. Other Wires X check-ins. Man, we got a lot. This is awesome.
Here at N7GRS Eagle, Idaho.
All right, N7GRS. Garrett, we got you in there. Thanks for checking in from Eagle. Other Wires X check-ins. All right, let's move on to YSF. If you're on a YSF reflector, you can go ahead and check in now. Okay. No YSF today. And then we've got, let's see, let me flip on back over to the live stream, see how many we've got. We got 13 people watching on the live stream right now, and 6 thumbs up. So if you're watching on the live stream, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. It does help. And let me get back to the other screen here. Okay. First order of business. We had some loose ends from a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to turn it over to Doug W6DUG from Northern California with a little bit of info that he had. Doug, go ahead and take it.
Thank you, Bob, and thanks for sponsoring this net each week. Yeah, I wanted to just hit a couple things about. One of them was medical. One of the things that being a CERT member, we went through a thing called Stop the Bleed. And if you go to stopthebleed.org, it explains exactly what it is. The whole training
Beautiful.
is designed to. It was basically designed after the Afghanistan war, the Iraqi war, by just experience about how they were saving lives with tourniquets and a special procedure of taking care of major artery wounds. It's about an hour, 10 minutes. Training. You can pretty much watch it on TV or on YouTube, but it's nice if you actually can get into a class and actually experience, because they have mannequins and stuff that you can work on. But it's something that it will, as you know, I'm a boomer, and the bottom line is that some of the stuff they teach today, especially in Stop the Bleed, it will shock you, because when I was in Scouts back when I was a kid, even when I was on the volunteer fire department when I first turned 18, you never put a tourniquet on unless you were going to, unless it was a life, just absolutely had to for life. And now it's something that you can do without fear of losing a limb because of all the microsurgery that they do in the medical profession. We'll let it drop. Okay, and again, that was stopthebleed.org. The next thing I want to just talk about is food storage. a lot of people think that the expiration dates on a container makes that after that expiration date, you should probably dispose of it, and that's simply not true. The federal government, with the exception of baby formula, do not require manufacturers to put an expiration date or a best by date. That is something that the manufacturers had started way back when, so that grocers would know when to pull it off the shelf. But the fact is, and this is from the USDA website, if you open it and it looks okay and it smells okay, it's probably okay. So don't be throwing those cans away just because it says it expired a year ago or 2 years ago. I mean, if it's all bloated out, I'd probably get rid of it. But otherwise, those expiration dates are not mandatory. And like I said, there are a couple exceptions to that. I learned this a few years ago, but there's a pancake mix, and I don't remember which one it is, that has oil in it, and that can go bad. So do it the old-fashioned way and just make your own mix with flour. We'll let it drop. And my final comment was tagged on to something that was said last week about the book stopped 1 second after. I read 1 second after before it was a book. It was a transcript. It was fascinating. You can now get it in an audio book for those of you who go to sleep when you're reading, like me. It's fascinating. The big thing about that is if you read that, there's not one thing in that book that's not plausible. It'll scare the heck out of you, but there's nothing in there you can't say, oh, that was that's impossible. It's all plausible. In fact, it's very well thought out and practical. So if you have an opportunity, either get the book or listen to the books on tape on 1 second after by William Forstner. Just an outstanding. Have your family listen to it. That will help them start to get involved in this prepping. Anyway, that's all I got to say, Bob. Back to you.
Hey, thank you, Doug. This is K6UDA on the K6UDA repeater from the Southern Idaho Command. Oh, Doug, you had some information. You were going to dig up some information on California's SB2 in regards to carrying at church under this new proposed law. Is that still relevant, or did they change it again?
Well, Bob, I'm not sure if they changed it again because it's Saturday and I didn't look at their website yesterday. But you know how it is with legislatures. The bottom line is SB2. This is for California people, the People's Republic of California. But SB2 adds a penal code section that prohibits carrying, even if you're licensed in certain areas. And one of those was the church, synagogue, mosque, or other place of worship. And there is an exception on number 22, is that you can, if the owner of the premise, the building or premises indicating license holders are permitted, if they place a sign at the entrance of that building, and then they say, as prescribed by the Department of Justice, and it shall be 4 inches by 6 inches in size. Now, I've contacted the California DOJ, and they did get back to me with a letter or an email that basically said, read the text. And I did read the text, and I got back to them and sent them the copy of the text. And I got a phone call, but it went to voicemail, and I have not gotten another call back on it to find out exactly what the prescription for those signs are. I mean, it's right now, if they don't have anything, which I'd be surprised if they don't, because it doesn't take effect until next month. But, so that's what I found out. W6 DUG.
All right, again, thanks, Doug. Thanks for all that information. That's good stuff. That is actually very good stuff. Well, guys, today I want to talk about winter. Old man winter is coming, and as John here in the chat says, you're still a couple of weeks away from the start of winter. And yeah, while I'm painfully aware of that, we have had a good taste of it so far this year. Looks to be like it's going to be a cold and wet one, which we need. But one of my greatest fears has been an EMP. And if we in the United States and Canada were to experience a prolonged power outage, we would be thrust into the 1850s without their technology. My fears have been way amplified since moving from the relatively warm climate in the People's Republic of California with a K. And that fear is winter here in Idaho. How would we survive the sub-frozen world of Idaho and the north if it wasn't for electricity? And that's what I want to talk about today. Now, in most of the places here in the northern U.S., or most places in the U.S., from time to time, everybody has experienced some sort of a blackout. And fortunately, here in southern Idaho, the blackouts have been relatively short, maybe a couple of hours at a time, maybe 5-6 hours at a time. We've been pretty lucky since I've been here, at least, that we haven't had longer blackouts. And I know those of you that are lifers here, fifth generation Idahoans, you guys have experienced longer blackouts, and I'm asking for your input today, because when it's 5 below, heat is life here. We need to, one of my greatest fears is keeping the pipes from freezing in the house. If the power were to go out, for a week or more, or permanently, keeping my livestock watered. How do I keep the waterers going in the winter time, to keep my horses alive, to keep, sheep alive? They still need to have water. I'm going to let it drop. So some of the obvious things for keeping warm, the big one, or the most obvious one, is if you have a fireplace or a wood-burning stove. I think even better than a fireplace is to have plenty of firewood on hand. Even if you're not burning all the time, if you're not heating your house with the fireplace or the stove, to have enough wood to get you through the winter. That would be ideal. My opinion. You also want to have at least one generator, preferably a dual fuel generator. So if you run out of gas and you've got propane, you can hook it up to propane and at least keep some of your systems running. Heat is going to be the big one, and at least at that point you can get a space heater running. In sub-freezing conditions, you could put cold food outside and keep it cold. The other thing, buddy heaters. I think having a buddy heater is probably a very smart thing to have, and those are small, portable, propane powered heaters that you can at least keep a room going. Other things very quickly are open fires. If you've got a fire pit or something, you can warm yourself with an open fire. Hand and feet warmers, solar ovens for cooking and for heating water. And then there's these, I've seen them lately, these solar water heaters that I guess you could just put them outside on a semi-sunny day and they'll heat up a little bit of water. And one of the things that I've always been a big proponent of, I own one, is called a simple pump. I can replace my well pump with a simple pump, and I can hand pump water from my well. I don't know how well those things are going to work, how well a hand pump is going to work in the frozen north. And I'm going to open it up right now for comments on the net. Let's go local guys first. Anything anybody has to offer? Any advice?
LTV.
N7LTV. Go ahead.
The check-in, I was out on the tractor. Just a couple of thoughts that I have. Number one is that my wife and I have heated exclusively with wood heat for the last 38 years, and we try and keep 2 years of wood in stock at all times. It's not always there, but the other thing is I've kind of been collecting old wood stoves as well. I actually have 5 wood stoves on the property now, which is kind of comforting because we have 3 homes here, and so we're kind of set that way. The other thing I would have to say, right? Currently, we're doing some remodeling in our home that we are usually in, and we're in an apartment above our garage right now. So I'm not heating my home, and we're down here quite often doing some work with no heat whatsoever. Down here, even when it gets down in the teens, it's never dropped below 39 degrees. And with a good pair of insulated coveralls, we can sit around down here in the building and be actually quite comfortable. There's electricity to hopefully run radios and stuff. I do have generators, but if EMP is a big one, maybe those things will be fried. So I actually have some old antique hit and miss Maytag washing machine motors that I can hook up to just an old 12-volt generator to charge batteries. And then as far as my livestock goes, my water level in my well is only at 55 feet, and I've made a simple well bucket type of rig that we can lower down the road, pull up about 2.5 gallons at a time to fill animal waters plus meat our needs. Anyway, winter will definitely create a lot more work for us.
Yeah, that's always been one of my big fears is how do I keep the waterers going. I've got stock waterers outside. I've got waterers in the stalls for the horses, and if we pop a fuse right now, those especially the stall waters, they freeze up. They freeze up in hours. So I've got to figure out some way to keep their water going. Which, if guys that live in California, even the guys in Northern California, man, you don't know what winter really is until you come out here and you experience winter, or you go back east, I guess. And I haven't experienced it back east. But hey, thank you for that. I know my shop, it usually stays in the 30s, but it does get pretty darn cold out there in the shop, and I've always feared for my water pipes and everything here in the house. Any other local or Wires X comments?
KJ7RAR.
KJ7RAR, Terry, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things I kind of set up, I have a tri-fuel generator for the whole house, which runs on gas, and I have it plugged into natural gas, so there's never an ending unless it comes to the point where they're not pumping. But I also have a electric solar generator, 1500 watt one. And one of the reasons is I don't want my outside generator running 24/7 if there's a long time emergency. But what I can do in this case is run the electric generator inside because there's no fumes. And when I need to charge it, I can either charge it with a gas generator or with solar panels, depending upon if the sun is shining or not. And so that keeps at least a generator where I can have a heater and keep my refrigerator running or something like that. Over. One other thing though. The buddy heaters are good because you can get them in different sizes, but they also advertise, and I've seen on YouTube where they've tested it, where you can run them inside your house and they will not give the, they won't kill you, in other words. And so that's something to consider. So having a big buddy is a good thing to have. Over.
Yeah, thanks, Terry. That's great information. Have you tested running your house on your generators? Shut off the mains and run run everything for a day or so?
I haven't done it for a day or so, but I have tested it. When I had my electricity, the guy come and put in the electricity for the 30 amp cable. Anything we did run the whole house on it. The only thing is you can't do the like the dryer and the oven at the same time. But probably wouldn't be doing something like that anyway. Except the dryer if I have to wash clothes. But yeah, it works. I haven't done it in a long time, but no. But it does work. I have tested it. I haven't tested the electric one yet because I just got it, and so I'm ready to set that up. Over.
Gotcha. I'd definitely like to hear the results of your test when you actually get that thing up and running for a day, especially during the winter. Anybody else? Wires X, YSF. I've got a couple of comments here I'm going to read on the live stream.
Well, Vincent GRS here. Idaho plumbing code does not require pipes to be insulated inside the wall, so if anybody's remodeling their house or exposed pipes in the garage, you can go above and beyond and go ahead and insulate it, but it's not required for Idaho plumbing code, so you should be aware of that.
Good to know, especially those with new houses where a lot of these contractors have been cutting corners in the last couple of years where they can. So take note. I'm going to read a couple of comments from the Digital Dreamer. A couple of $36 hydroelectric generators plumbed into your cold water side of your faucet can help keep your battery banks charged up. Don't know, I haven't heard of those. And he's he's out in Hawaii, so I don't think he's in danger of freezing. He's a member of the DEM, maintain and required to maintain his own Faraday cages with radios and HTs. And then, let's see. I'm going to let it drop. And then again, James Hannibal, KH2SR, he says he grew up in northern Idaho and he knows exactly what I'm talking about in regards to winter. And then Digital Dreamer also says it's better to build multiple battery banks, and then you could run a very small gas generator for 20 minutes at a time to charge up your battery banks with pulse and desulf chargers. Good information. That's something that with the generators I would recommend, especially if we didn't know how long it was going to be until we got some kind of grid power back, if we were going to get grid power back. Let's move on. And this is K6UDA with the Southern Idaho Preparedness Net. Personal protection dressing. From my experience now, you want to dress in layers. You want to have some good gloves or mittens with hand warmers, and have wool socks, waterproof or insulated boots. I'm kind of thinking around here, at least, or around my place, I kind of like the waterproof boots a little bit more because I live in a mud pit. Everything out back gets extremely muddy, sticky, and wet. So I'm thinking more the waterproof boots. I have some insulated boots besides, but I don't wear those nearly as much. Beanie hats. That keeping your head warm, your hands and feet, and your head warm. Those are the places that are going to freeze and that are going to get frostbite and cause you the most damage the quickest. And then having some manual fire starters. Some kind of something that doesn't need power, something that you don't have to plug in, doesn't need extra fuel, like the little magnesium fire starters and strikers. And then it brings me to my last section that I wanted to cover was cooking and hydration. You want to have a good stock. If you live up here, you want to have a good stock of canned foods, ready to eat foods, in addition to your dehydrated foods or your prepper foods. And my suggestion is to use the dehydrated foods in conjunction with some canned foods. It gives you more variety, and it cuts down on the water you need to prepare your food. And that's another big concern, is the water. For all the dehydrated foods, all the Mountain House stuff, the Wise Foods, any of that type of food, even if you're canning yourself or you're freeze drying or dehydrating yourself and you're going to rehydrate your foods, it takes water, and that water is kind of precious. So I suggest to have a stock of water that's specifically for your cooking needs, in addition to the water that you need to feed or to keep yourself hydrated, keep your pets hydrated, and your family. You want to have some bottled water set aside somewhere in the house or in the garage if it's fairly heated. Or you want to have canned water, or 5-gallon containers of water. You want to have some in case the power goes out temporarily. If you want to have, or if you have a power outage and it looks bad, it looks like it's widespread, or possibly the EMP thing, or possibly it's going to be over a few hours, immediately I would suggest taking those water containers that you have and filling them, and then keeping those in a bathtub or the shower or something inside the house. Keep them as warm as you can. Any comments on cooking hydration? I know N7LTV, if he's exclusively heating the house on wood, he does have several stoves. Those are great things to cook on too. That's free cooking. But any other suggestions for cooking and keeping yourself going? Yeah, go ahead, Doug.
One thing that we do is we have a good supply of paper plates and like solo cups and stuff like that, because you're not going to want to waste water to wash your plates after meals and stuff. And while that isn't exhaustible, plates are, when you're out, but it will help you maintain for a longer period of time without having to use up your water to keep it clean.
Oh, good idea. I hadn't even thought of washing the dishes, and that's that would take precious resources. So really, really good suggestion there. And we do have the paper plates and solo cups for other, because we're lazy, but great idea there. Anything else? Anybody else? Anywhere, local, YSF, or Wires X?
IH10, just with a outside observation on this. I appreciate it's a very relevant to you guys in the States there, the themes you're going through, and maybe I can elaborate with some of that. It's just an observation, like people are saying, if you, I know with firearms and stuff, and with radio, you can have all the kit if you don't practice with it. This question is not from a position of expertise by any means, but would you sort of advocate doing a sort of trial run of trying to survive on stuff as if you're in a real scenario, and actually see how the realities of what you thought, how you might cope with things, turns out different when you actually have to do it? I don't know if that makes any sense to anybody. Back to you.
Yeah, definitely. I have done the test runs. I haven't done it in the winter, and I don't think I would do it in the winter unless I absolutely had to, because it's, I think, once you get down below freezing here, it's not playing around. And if you make a mistake, if I make a mistake now, I break a main water pipe, or I do something that's going to cost me a lot of money, a lot of resources, and I might not be able to get it fixed until things thaw out. So, but definitely in the summertime, I have done it. Haven't done it in quite a while. So that's probably a great idea. Something that we all should do is kind of test our preps out, and shut the power off, probably when it's comfortable out, and live on your preps, live on getting things done off grid for just a day, and see how that goes. Anybody else? Anything else? Now I know I've got some neighbors that are watching on the live stream. They're not licensed yet. Kind of looking. I'll read a couple of the comments here from the live stream. Ham radio frequency says add water to the freeze-dried pouch and eat from the pouch. Yep, that's a good idea. Again, you are using water, so you need to have that extra water for your cooking needs. Let's see. And I'm trying to think here if there's anywhere. Oh, learn to do with very little water, as Doug said, because the sanitation will be a big deal. This is from Alan. Sanitation would be a great topic for another week. KJ7LTV. Very, very good, Alan. Good suggestion. I'll put that on the list. Let's see. And Digital Dreamer, this is Todd in Hawaii. Hang on. I'm going to let it drop. And this is Bob, K6UDA in Twin Falls. Todd says, Bob, after living in Waikiki penthouses, learn to not turn your bathrooms into hazmat situations by filling up plastic trash cans with water to flush the toilets. That's a great idea. Having some containers of water, if your running water goes out, you still want to be able to use the toilet, so you're going to have to fill that tank up and flush the toilet. The toilet will still flush, even if you're not getting water in from the plumbing. The toilet will flush as long as you put water into that tank. So you want to have enough water to feed the tank and flush the toilets. Let's see. Jeff Strange says, make an exercise out of testing your preps and invite your neighbors and have some fun while taking it serious. Great idea. Great idea. And I'm going to let it drop one more time. Todd, KH2SR says, I lived through a dozen typhoons during my time in Guam. I know exactly what you are talking about. First thing we would do is fill the tub with water while we still could. So there's some information from guys who have lived in the South Pacific, dealt with their own tragedies, hurricanes and typhoons, which take out the power. They don't have to worry about freezing to death, but they do still have to eat, drink, and flush the toilet. I'm going to open it up for any last minute comments or anything, and then I'm going to go ahead and close out the net.
GRS, you have external water storage, but you do not have white or storage tanks. Make sure they're black, because sunlight will destroy that water inside.
Garrett, can you say that again? You broke up.
Yeah, I said you have water storage, like big external white, green, or clear. If they are black, and might still destroy the water inside.
Okay, what about the blue ones?
Ones are better still.
Garrett, I think you walked into a bad spot. You're not hitting the repeater real well. But I think we got it. So if you're doing this big 50-gallon water storage things, guys, Garrett, who's a plumber or a pipe fitter, he says use the black containers. If you use the black containers to store your water, it won't screw up the water or won't contaminate the water. Let's see. Any other comments before we secure the net? Okay, one more comment from James there. He says that sometimes that they would be without power for a month. Now, this was in Guam. It felt very post-apocalyptic. And the DX Commander is in there. So Callum is in the live stream. Anyway, guys, I want to thank everybody for joining the net today. It is growing. Believe it or not, it is getting bigger. We've got nine nodes in there right now. We've got 24 people on the live stream, and I want to thank everybody for being part of this and joining me here at the Southern Idaho Command. Next week we'll have a new topic. We'll do something, and we'll do something fun. If you have a suggestion, go ahead and email it to me, or leave it here in the live stream. I'm going to leave the live stream up for just a couple of minutes after we end the net. And I do want to say thank you to everyone on the net. Thank you to Doug for his participation today. Good information. And I will catch you guys all during the week or next week on the net. This is Bob, K6UDA, closing the net and returning all the repeaters and all of Wires X back to its normal operation. Thanks. All right, guys. Well, hey, Callum, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Let me jump into. Well, you know what? I'll just leave this screen up. Interesting topic, yeah. Frank, it is. I think it's a very interesting topic. It's something that I hadn't considered before moving here to Idaho, and now it's something that I consider on a regular basis. And I know, and I'm sorry that I haven't been talking about ham radio as the prepping tool. But there's so many topics, and even when you're talking about radio, there's so many topics to consider, because if you're not alive and you can't operate in your life, you're no good to anybody on the radio. An empty radio is a dead radio. Am I going to make us go away too? No. Todd, I said I'd leave this up for a few minutes. You guys are where I get most of the topics that I want to cover. And so I'm looking for topics to cover for next week. Does anybody have suggestions? I know somebody had one. Any dark colored trash can for storing water will work. Somebody had come up with something. I'm going to have to go back through all the comments and see what it is. But man, guys, thank you so much for being a big part of this. The live stream wasn't even intended really to be part of the net. It was it was an afterthought, and now it's really become a big part of it. And because I'm doing part of it on the radio, and I don't want to conflate the two. I don't monetize any of these videos, so there's none of that red card stuff where, I'm making money off of operating the radio. I'm not. This is purely for the community here, and I don't monetize any of these videos that I do on Saturdays. When it comes to prepping for my family, has nothing to do with ham radio. No, I mean, it doesn't, but it does, because, to me, ham radio is where I'm going to get my intel. I'm going to be dialing around, seeing how far or how widespread maybe the event, whatever it may be, how far it is, what's happening in other communities. And I'm fairly certain guys will be talking about that. Guys will be sharing information, I hope. Topic suggestion. We live in a digital world, but that may not exist in a SHFT scenario. solicit for hard copies suggestions. Building a library to reference when we can't use Google. Yeah, great suggestion. I'm going to put that on the list for next week, and I will put out. I'll tell you a great place to start. And if you guys want to hang on, I'm going to go grab a couple of books from my library, and I'll be right back. Okay. All right. All right. Just wanted to take a couple of minutes. Guys, this is a very informative book. If you haven't done that one, this one, Strategic Relocation. I bought this book probably 10 years ago, and this is actually the book that helped me decide to move here to the Southern Idaho Command. So extremely good book. It has a breakdown. Well, we'll talk about, you know what? We're gonna talk about it next week. Other good ones, Dare to Prepare by Holly Deo. Good read. And the Survival Bible. Those are all good ones. And then there's always the fictional books. 1 Second After changed my way of thinking. Patriots by James Wesley Rawls. Another one. These are the books that I had read years ago before I started on my prepping journey. And they changed everything. So great idea, Jeff. I think that's a very good idea, and I think next week we'll talk about some good reads and how to start your library. Thank you. Thanks, Jeff. And thank you, everybody. Let's see. Feel it's almost as important when you're not out foraging. Yep. You can, James is always good for great information. You can create an off-grid Wikipedia device using a Raspberry Pi. Just stick it in a Faraday box. Yeah. James, my biggest concern with that is if there was ever an EMP attack, let's just say Russia or China pops an EMP off here in the U.S. and they take out 90% of the grid. And so a day later, everybody breaks open their Faraday cages and starts pulling all their gear out. And 2 days later, they go pop off another EMP to take out all those devices that now all those people have pulled out and they're starting to put into use. Or they wait a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks and take out another. That's a big fear of mine, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Just my own paranoid delusions, I guess. Let's see. I love to see what everyone else uses. Beautiful. Beautiful. Any other suggestions from anybody as far as topics? I think next week I'm going to have a book topic. Offline reading list. What a great thing. Yes, and to put things in the throne room. Yes. Always supplement with hard copies, but it's hard to store all the human knowledge. It is. James, it is definitely hard to it's hard to put everything in, and I'm a big believer in I've got so much on my phone, on my iPad. Most of my books, and I've got to get in the habit of mixing it up a little bit and taking some of those books that I really like and buying the hard copies. But yeah, definitely, and that's a great idea to put them on a pie, throw them in a Faraday cage. As a matter of fact, something that I'm going to be testing very, very soon here. A little Faraday bag for the phone. And I gave it a quick little test last night. This just came yesterday from Amazon. $9. I want to see how it works in the long run. But on a K6UDA episode, we'll talk about Faraday bags and Faraday cages. Let's see. Recommend bottled water for weight instead of rocks, and then you have emergency water instead of just rocks. Oh, hang on, we got something. Bob, many people in winter states put sandbags in their trunks for weight to drive on ice. Instead of sandbags, use rocks that you can use to keep warm. Yeah, that's a good idea, is putting rocks on a fire, and then you can take the rocks off and you can warm stuff with the rocks. Great idea. Hadn't really thought of that for in the house or around the house. KJ7RAR, K6UDA. How you doing, Terry?
Doing good. Thank you. It went good this morning. Had a lot of good communication and people participating on YouTube. Thought it went good. Good
I think so. And actually, I've still got the live stream running. There's a lot of guys with some great suggestions they're just, I mean, they just keep going. So I kept the live stream going, and we're just kind of having a BS session.
Yeah, I was watching for a while. When it shut down. You know, the sheet you had today might be a good one to go from on Monday.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to take a little bit from some of the others too, and we'll definitely include it.
That's good. Sounds good. Hey, as far as Sunday night, what time do you guys want to get together? Just after it gets dark, 6 o'clock-ish, or do you want to go have dinner first and go, or what? Any thoughts?
You know what? Maybe we'll go have dinner first, and then go do the drive around.
Okay, say that one more time. I didn't copy it all.
Maybe dinner first, and then go do the driving around. All right, guys.
That sounds good. Why don't we get together on Sunday talk and then decide where to go? You guys want to go in your car or our car or what?
You know what? We'll figure it out. I think we got a full tank of gas. If not, then maybe your car. But let me finish up here on the live stream, and then I'll talk to you in a little bit. K6UDA.
So call anytime. 57 IR.
All right. None are sandstone. Moisture trapped in it can superheat into steam, causing an explosion. Oh, that's nuts. Using rocks and spare tires was something I learned in the Marine Corps. Oh, okay. Okay. Very, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. I things I hadn't really considered until moving here. And that's why I'm doing a lot of this, because I don't claim to be any kind of an expert at all. And I'm trying to learn. So I'm trying to learn. I'm hoping some of you guys could teach me. And maybe together we could teach some other people. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here and end the stream now. Now I'm going to kick you all off because I got other things to do. And I know I need to get back on making some videos. I haven't been motivated to make videos in the last couple of weeks, so I haven't done it. Oh well. Sue me for breach of contract. Anyway, guys, again, thank you for joining. Thank you for being a big part of making this net happen and making this net a success. I will see you all next week, and have a good one. I'm Bob, and 7-3, my friends. I'm out of here.